to stop looking at it from like trying to look for like an external system that's going to be the answer for you. You really have to like look deep inside yourself and think about, okay, what habits am I doing day over day that maybe not be like might not be best for me, but how can I make small and sustainable habits that over time will help me get to where I want to be? And from there, you're really writing your own like internal like rules about like what you're doing. You're not trusting like the external guidelines of a diet. You're telling yourself what to do. You're not listening to anyone else.
Hiya, ladies and gents. It's Melissa with Stop Playing in Life, and today's guest is Olivia. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, so I'll let her tell you
Olivia
guys.
Whalen.
Whalen, okay.
Yes.
Olivia
it's about
Whalen.
to change though. It's about to change though because I'm getting married soon.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
She's a personal training and health coach. Thanks for coming to chat with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Olivia has an interesting story, so I'll let her do her thing and tell us how did she get into coaching.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm first of all, I'm based out of New Jersey. However, I do most of my coaching online. I got started in the industry because I had always had an interest in health and fitness ever since, like I was a little girl. I grew up playing sports. I was always into like cooking and like understanding like the like health value of foods. I loved cooking with my aunt, my mom. And then when I got to college, I stopped playing sports competitively. And so with that, I felt like I almost like lost a sense of who I was. And then during that time too, with like the immense pressure and like the anxiety that was like building up in me, I actually I developed an eating disorder through that. And so coming through recovery and understanding what that journey was like, it made me realize that I want to help women um, not go through something similar. So I based my coaching business off of helping women to create sustainable and healthy habits that won't lead them to feel burned out when they already have so many things going on in their lives that they don't need to be thinking about like a specific calorie count or like how many reps of a certain exercise. I really teach my clients to be intuitive with their fitness and their eating because I believe that's like the most sustainable way to lead a healthy life. So that's really why I got into it. I have my certification through the National Academy of Sports Medicine, and I'm a certified health coach through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. So that's a little bit about me and why I started.
I do know that all health coaching isn't created equally. So what style of coaching do you focus on?
Right. So I primarily focus on, I'm not sure, this is like kind of like a new term that's been getting more popular like over the last few years, but I really focus on intuitive eating rather than like any specific diet. Like there'll be like specific health coaches that help with implementing like a plant-based diet, or there'll be specific health coaches that focus on like chronic illnesses. Where I come in is really helping my client to create an intuitive way of eating that where they don't feel restricted or that they have to feel like they have to abide by rules with their food. I teach them that like their hunger cues should really be what's initially driving their eating habits. And I teach my clients how to trust those cues rather than relying on the structure of a diet.
So with your thing, do you include meal plans?
So they're not like strictly meal plans because what's actually interesting, and I feel like not many people know this, but in many states in the US, you're not legally able to prescribe meal plans unless you're a registered dietitian. And so to help my clients like understand like what I do say that they're meal plans, but what they really are just like guides to help them like food shop and plan out specific meals for their day, they're not like, you have to eat this amount of this food, or like you have to count this many grams, which there are meal plans that are like that. But because I'm not a registered dietitian, like my meal plans, quote unquote, are not like that. They're really based on like helping you to plan out your meals and just structure your day so that you're getting like the basic nutrients and you're feeling great.
It's funny you say that because I'm in Texas, and there's so many people who do meal plans, and I had no idea that you
Yeah.
cannot do a meal plan to somebody. I even was like, I think I did before COVID, the C-19. I was in
Mhm.
CrossFit. And
Okay.
they made us do these excruciating meal plans. It was so disgusting. But
Yeah. So with CrossFit, that actually might be, because like we have that here too, actually. I'm in New Jersey, but so what might have been done for them, they might have like hired registered
mm,
dietitians to write their meal plans for them as a company, and then they sell them, so that can be done too. Yeah, there's like many ways to like go about it. And like also like every state is different with their laws. New Jersey is like very strict with laws like that. So that is a law here. I'm not sure about Texas though.
that well, somebody should have undid their meal plans because the food was gross. It was disgusting.
What kind of foods was on it?
They had like oatmeal and it would be like recipes, but the recipes when I made them, and I did this with my sisters too, we was all
Oh,
like gagging, and we don't even live in the same house, but we was like calling each other on three-way like, this is disgusting. Like
oh,
vinegar oatmeal, and it was like the randomest
vinegar.
stuff. Yeah, vinegar and oatmeal. It was like the randomest recipes I've never seen in my life,
Yeah,
but
that
it was
is
gross.
strange. I like oatmeal, but I don't
Me
think I would
too.
ever
That's
try
why I
it
thought
with
it was gonna be
vinegar.
good. I'm like, oh well, maybe it's gonna be good, but I was like throwing up in my own mouth. Like, this is just no.
Yeah, don't think I would try that.
Uh-uh. Do you do like custom workouts, or do you offer like group workout plans for people to follow?
So I do mostly custom workouts. So what that means is like I'll do an assessment of my client and I'll look at like what their specific goals are, where are they working out, and then from that, I'll write them specific workouts that will target their goals. And I'll make sure that they're getting a variety of different workouts in, meaning like they'll have like days that target upper body, days that target lower body, um, and days that are full body, hit focus, metcon. So they get like a variety of things so that they don't get bored and so that they're really challenging their body. And so what I do really is I help them. It's called like a progression. So they'll progress through the exercises week over week so that they can see their progress, which is really how like the exercises are structured. Um, I do want to get into like group coaching. I think that's something that is a really like cool and fun avenue that I want to explore as a coach. And I even want to get into in-person training, which I think I'm going to do this upcoming summer in my beach town, because I know that it attracts a lot of people. There's a lot of people down the shore. And I think it would be like a fun thing to do.
Well, I can tell you from experience. Well, me personally, I don't know about everybody else. I do not like group workouts. Let me tell you why. Because they are not
Okay.
custom to me. Like,
Mhm.
I've had personal trainers before, and I will get so, because they do custom workouts for my body type,
Mhm.
like I'll be looking banging. But then when I get in like a group program, I'll be looking all whack. How to like it just does not work for me personally.
Right. Yeah, and I do that. I do notice that about myself too. I feel like that's something as a trainer myself, like I've become like very intuitive about, where like I enjoy group programs for like the community aspect, and I like having someone else to tell me what to do. But when I'm trying to like target a specific body part, or um if I want to feel like really stronger in a certain area, I feel like my strength is like being a personal trainer. Like I can do that workout on my by myself and like really basically write a workout for myself where it's like targeted to what exactly I want. And so that's exactly what I do for my clients too, because again, like with group classes, like not every person is going to be on the same fitness level either. So like
That
you
part.
can't tell someone to do like a jumping freaking push-up and expect everyone else to do that in the class, because one, someone might have an injury where they can't. Two, they might not feel comfortable. And three, like it's just, if someone's never done it before, like they might be scared. And so like you have to like think about the fitness level of everyone in the group. And I feel like sometimes like group programs can fail to do that. And so that's something like if I were to move into group programming, I would be conscious of, because you can modify exercises for everyone in the group. There's ways to do that too.
I've been in like online group coaching, like fitness things too. I've tried everything, girl. Like I've been offline, online personal trainers. I've done it all. Like, especially in my early 20s, I learned to hate the word diet. Like fast.
Good. You should
Because
hate the
I'm
word
like,
diet.
I can't do it. It's just too much.
Yeah, I think like as someone that's literally like been through an eating disorder, I feel like I don't know why or how like diets even exist, because when you think about it, like humans are the only species on earth that feel like we need to restrict and put rules around the food we eat. When you think
Mhm.
about like all the animals that inhabit the planet, like they just freaking need to survive. Why are we the ones that like have to like have all these rules around what we eat? Like it's just so unnatural. And I think that's why like most or all diets fail, is because you're basically going against biology essentially. And so when you look at it that way, you like, let's say like you have a specific like fitness goal, like, oh, like maybe I want to lose weight, maybe I want to gain muscle. You have to stop looking at it from like trying to look for like an external system that's going to be the answer for you. You really have to like look deep inside yourself and think about, okay, what habits am I doing day over day that maybe not be like might not be best for me, but how can I make small and sustainable habits that over time will help me get to where I want to be. And from there, you're really writing your own like internal like rules about like what you're doing. You're not trusting like the external guidelines of a diet. You're telling yourself what to do. You're not listening to anyone else. And I think that's what's empowering about how I coach, I guess.
I don't know. Last year I went on this crazy, what is a diet? Like I literally was on Google, like researching the word, like I know what it means, but I was on Google like DIET. What is this? Because I'm like, I was so fed up because I have been through so many years of yo-yoing, trying
Mm-hmm.
all these different things. And I just was like, let me figure out what the hell is a diet.
Yeah. I think so. What I want to recommend to you, actually, I think that you would really benefit from this book. So you should check out the book Intuitive Eating.
Mhm.
And for everyone listening too, I think it's a good resource for anyone really. Um, it really teaches you how to become an intuitive eater and come back to that sense that like you were born an intuitive eater, but like the way that society works kind of like suppressed that. And it teaches you how to undo like what's called the dieting mindset, which is
Mhm.
what like most of the population of the United States probably falls under. Yeah, it's true, unfortunately.
It
But
is.
it's such an eye-opening book and a way to look at like food that um I think that it's just totally worth for anyone to read, really. And I think you should check it out too, based off of like what just you're saying.
I saw one of your graphics talking about the life cycle of a diet.
Yeah.
What
Do you want
is
me to
it
explain that?
exactly? Yes. Because I was like, okay, I'm not about to read this. I'm just going to ask.
Okay, so the life cycle of a diet, I think I actually, let me pull this one up because I know that I have a graphic that can help me really explain it. Second. Okay. So the person has the beginning of it is like the person has that desire to lose weight, right? So that's where that diet thought initially comes from. And so when they realize that they want to lose weight, they then move into this phase where they're actually on the diet and like those dieting rules are established, um, which then leads to deprivation from that rule and restriction. And then because they're in deprivation, they have cravings and they have a feeling of like reduced self-control because those feelings ultimately come from deprivation. That deprivation that people experience when they're on diets is really like your biology telling you that your body, like it's trying to survive, and that's kind of just like a primal instinct that we have. And so that, like I said, a diet is basically going against biology. So that's why people experience those cravings and like a feeling of like a loss of control whenever they're on a diet. And so then when they experience those cravings and that loss of control, that eventually then leads to like overeating, binging, and like a loss of like control. And then that obviously will lead to weight gain, and then they'll feel guilty, and then again they'll feel like they need to lose weight, and so the process just continues and continues and continues because it's a circle. So that's really what that is, and that's why it can be so difficult to get out of. And that's why when you experience, like, when you're in that phase of like, oh, I want to lose weight, or like I feel like I need to go on a diet, instead of thinking about that, explore intuitive eating, and I promise you that you will find a totally different way of living. It won't be easy, like it's not something that will happen overnight. It's something where you have to like learn how to change your brain really and think about like how you're processing like your thoughts and everything like that. But it's so worth it, and that's really like how I coach my clients through that strategy and that focus.
It's funny you say that because when I'm not dieting, I can go all day and don't even think about food. But the moment I
Mhm.
say, okay, I'm about to do a diet, I will be wanting anything, stuff I don't even eat
Yep.
like regularly.
Yeah.
Anything in sight, I want to eat it.
Yeah, no, that is something that truly does happen with diets. And that's because you're experiencing deprivation. And I think what might be a like really helpful and just like reassuring thing for you to hear, so that you know that there's nothing wrong with you, because there's obviously nothing wrong with you. It's that your body, the way that like humans have evolved, like your body physically cannot tell the difference between a diet and actual starvation, right? So like our bodies look at diets and starvation as physically the same thing. Our bodies have not evolved as fast as our society has evolved, and how quickly with technology we were able to create our food supply chain and our like availability of just food in general. And so when we apply a diet, like our mind might say like, oh, we're on a diet, but like our body is literally processing that as starvation.
You're not about to
So
eat, so I need to find a way to eat.
exactly. Physically, your body's experiencing those feelings of deprivation. So that's why you can only think about food when you're on a diet. And that's what happens basically. And that's why diets are so hard to maintain long term, because it's it's unrealistic to think about your body being in starvation long term, because basically what happens when humans starve long term? They die, literally. So that's why it's like impossible to maintain diets long term.
Okay, you work with business women. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is physical health to a woman's success in business?
Oh my gosh, a 10 out of 10. Like if you if you are not healthy, you're not going to be in the right mindset, and you won't be able to lead and grow in the way that you want to. So that's why I think that, I know from my personal experience that's entirely true, because when I was sick with my eating disorder, obviously I was not in optimal health. I was in college at the time. I had to drop classes. I couldn't hold the job. Like I just was not functioning because I was not in my top tip top health. Another experience I had was I've suffered from chronic migraines, and I realized that a lot of that had to do with my gut health and how I was taking care of it. And so once I fixed that, my migraines subsided, and I had suddenly all of this time that I didn't have when I was in pain to actually work on the things that I wanted to. And so, like, those are just two examples in my life where taking care of myself and my health really mattered. And so like that's why I think that for any women, it's so important to take care of your health.
You brought up the whole chronic headache thing. Months
Mhm.
ago, I had chronic headaches too. And I started
Did
going to
you?
the chiropractor. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God. I randomly started going to the chiropractor and them adjusting my body. It was like a miracle. Like the headaches
Yeah.
went away.
Yeah, that's actually something that can help too. Chiropractors, acupuncture, your gut health, hormones. There's so many things that can affect headaches.
Mhm.
Now that you mentioned a chiropractor, I really want to go. I feel like I need a good adjustment in my neck, to be
I
honest.
love I go 4 times a month. That's how much I
Really?
like going. Yeah. I got
I
a
have to
subscription.
go.
That's how
I
much
got a
I loved it. I was
subscription.
like, and the funny part is but like I scream because I'm very sensitive body. So I'll be like screaming back there and people be like, I'm scared to go in there. But when I get off the table, I be feeling so good. I'm like, I'm gonna keep going.
So worth it. Yeah, I definitely have to check one out. So yeah, thanks for the reminder.
Is there a particular reason why you chose to work with corporate women or entrepreneurs?
I think for me, I chose to work with that type of woman because I relate to her the most.
Mhm.
That's who I am. And I think by working in corporate, like I work full time from home now, but prior to the pandemic, I was in an office and I saw so many things that I just wish that I could shake women and be like, why are you doing this? And I think just from like seeing that and like from my own experience, I see that there's a huge need in like the corporate realm and like with women entrepreneurs as well, because so many of them are like one man shows. They're handling so much, and like it can be so easy to let your health be like on the back burner when that happens. And so I just want to help those women so much because I can relate to them, and I've seen the problems that they face and I know what those are, and I know that I can help them.
That's great. Sometimes people just, let me say this. Sometimes people just don't do the work though, or they just aren't ready to do the work. Have you found that there are some indicators that somebody isn't ready to coach with you?
I would say someone isn't ready when they don't value investing in themselves. I think that that's something that I actually like when I'm going through the process of like working to like have a client sign on with me. That's actually something that I work with them to realize is that growth is going to come from being uncomfortable. And if they're not willing to step into that zone of being uncomfortable, they're not ready. And that's okay. Like you don't have to be ready. It's just the figuring out if you're ready to step into that zone of being uncomfortable, investing in yourself, putting in the time to make the change. That's when growth will happen. And so I'll notice that like some women are ready and some women aren't. And that's really where like what it comes down to.
So it's pretty much a mindset thing.
What'd you say?
So it's pretty much like the mindset.
Oh yeah, it is all mindset, pretty much. Um, I think that it is scary to one, like trust a coach to help you on your journey. I think that it's also scarier to go on that journey by yourself with not having the knowledge background that a coach might necessarily have. And so like that's why I like really coach my clients on like listening and helping them to understand that like when you have someone walking alongside you that wants the best for you and has done what you've done and what you want, they can help you get to your end goal faster than you would on your own so that you don't have to live in like the pain or like the uncomfortableness that you're experiencing. And you have to ask yourself like, are you more comfortable with staying where you are at now, or are you more comfortable with changing? What results would you want more? Right. So that's what you really have to think about. Like, would you be happy with staying where you are now or going where you want to be?
That's right. But sometimes I feel like it could be a vibe that's just off because I've hired people who I just vibed with and I could talk to.
Yeah.
But then I've also had coaches where it's like standoffish. So it's like you don't even
Yeah.
want to confide in those people. So how you even gonna do the program?
Yeah, no, I exactly. That's like a huge part of it too. Like it has to be um it has to work on both sides. Like if you're not vibing like with someone's like personality, like they just might not be the right fit for you. And I think that in order for you to get what you're looking for, like out of a coach, like you need to have that personal connection and you need to be able to like relate to that person on like some personal level so that you can trust them with whatever questions you have and like the journey that you're going through. Because like as a coach, like my clients confide in me with a lot of things. And like I'm so grateful that like I'm that person that they go to for those types of questions and that type of advice. And so like I realized like my goal is to not be the coach for everyone. Like my coach is to be the coach for my ideal client. And I think that like there's so many coaches that try to be everything for everyone.
Everybody's coach.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work.
Right. Which brings me to the question of, if you was to ever stop doing what you're doing now, why would you stop?
Oh God, I don't think I would ever stop. I really don't think I could ever stop. And I think that I've had so many conversations about this, like with my family, with my friends, and it's like, I really feel like I was put on this earth to do what I'm doing. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like I had, and like many people had this, but I feel like I had this like revelation almost like during like COVID, like in the early quarantine days, where I was like, what am I doing? Like, we have one life. Like, I want to be doing what I want to do, right? Like, I don't want to be sitting at a cubicle all day, working my life away for someone else. Like, I want to be working in something that fulfills me and where I'm like helping people in like an area that I know I'm talented in. And I think that like everyone should really have that be their focus. Um, so yeah, I don't think I would ever stop. If I were to stop what I'm doing, I would probably find some way to do what I'm doing just in a different like avenue, like
Yeah.
kind of just like a different like platform or something. Yeah.
I think COVID gave everybody a lot of, well, not everybody, most people revelations about life in
Yes. No,
general.
it did. It definitely did. I even my fiance, he joined the National Guard during COVID.
Oh,
So he literally
wow.
joined the army. Yeah. So yeah, there's been like so many stories. I know another girl that like I went to college with. She started her own candle company. So yeah, there's so many like amazing stories. And I think for like what it was, like COVID was obviously a horrible thing to happen to this country. But I think that we have to realize that there was also like some good and like realizations that we came to because we realized like I think a lot of people realize like one, what they really want to do with their lives. And like another thing is like, I think companies are realizing that there's more productive ways to have like your corporate culture. Like maybe you want to do a hybrid scenario. Maybe you want to have your workers work remotely. There's just so much more like, I think the world has changed in a way where like we're beginning to look at like what work really means and like what it should be. And I think that was like one of the
Mm,
things that came out of COVID.
one of the good things.
One of the good
Came
things.
out of that things that came out of the COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that it was yeah, I think COVID was like a huge like wake up call for many things. But yeah, this was one of them. But again, a good thing that came out of a bad situation.
Okay, I have a random question. What
Mhm.
kind of jobs did you do as a teen? Have you always had like an entrepreneurial mindset, or did you like working for others?
Oh wow. Okay, this is actually a really good question. I love this question. So as a teenager, um I worked so many different jobs. I think I like worked at like Abercrombie. I worked at a clothing store in my beach town. I worked at a Rite Aid. I like had like these small jobs in high school, just kind of like to make money. I think as in high school, I was like very busy because I was playing sports. I was a pretty good student. I was considered myself very social. So like what I really just needed was like something to like give me money in like the little time that I had, which was
Yeah.
fine. But I feel like I always had this like entrepreneurial mindset and like just this passion and like this subconscious knowing that that was always what I had wanted to do ever since I was a little girl. Like I remember being a little girl and like having like a journal where I would like write like random ideas that I had to invent. And like I would be like, oh my gosh, if I thought of this invention, I really hope that no one invents it by the time I'm old enough to create
I've
this.
said something
Like,
like that before too.
yeah, like literally, it would be like I don't even remember some of the ideas I had, but like I would be like, oh, I hope I remember this idea when I'm like 20 something and I can actually execute on it.
But
Like
never
so funny.
consider to keep the journal.
Exactly. I don't know where the heck those things are, but yeah. And I do remember my first business venture, actually. This was like so cute. But my cousins and I, we used to sell like little like friendship bracelets on the beach. I was like 7 years old.
Mm.
Like we would literally make them and we would just sell them on the beach as people would like walk up um to go on. So yeah, that was like I guess like my first venture in entrepreneurship. And I remember this like one grumpy lady, she was like so mean. Like we were literally like under 10 years old. And this lady came and she was like, you know, you need a permit to sell these. And like we were like 10. And my mom actually said, like, lady, are you serious? Like,
She
go
the
get a
original
life.
Karen.
Yes, an original Karen right there. Exactly.
I have never liked working for others, to be honest. Not even like
Mhm.
as a team, because I started working at 16.
Oh yeah,
I
same.
like the fact that I can make my own money, but I don't like being bossed around. I
Yeah.
never liked working for people.
No, and I think that like as I've gotten older too, I realized like how I don't want to use like the wrong word, but like just like how immoral some things are
Mm.
in like corporate America. And I'm just like, if you were to take like the fact that this is a large corporation out of like the conversation, and if you were to just like picture the scenario in like a family or like a group of friends, like none of this would be okay morally. And so that's kind of like what like turn it's like everyone's kind of like thinking to themselves like wow, this is like a really screwed up way of doing things, but nobody really comes out and says it. And I think that like that happens so much at like corporations where like you have like a huge um like company with like a big executive C-suite and like I don't know. I have so many things to say about that.
I know
I don't like
exactly what
working.
you mean, because pre-entrepreneurial life, I used to work lots of places. Like
Yep.
I'm the person, I work everywhere because I will walk out on a job. I have
Yeah.
no qualms about walking right out. Always have.
Yeah. I don't like you shouldn't and like you shouldn't feel like it makes me sad when like people feel like they can be or that they should withstand being mistreated at a job because they feel like they're being like almost like held hostage by like the money that they're getting and the benefits that they're receiving.
Mhm.
What I really want like people to realize is that like you are never stuck in a job and like you should never stay in a job because of benefits. Like I feel like half the freaking time like people are in jobs for benefits for healthcare to
Uh-huh.
treat them for the health problems that they're getting because of their job.
All the stress and stuff.
Yes.
But you know what?
Seriously.
It's funny you say that, because I hate when my husband talks about this all. Like he's like, I need a job with benefits, and I'm like, you're gonna get a job with benefits for them to only give you like a couple of dollars on some health insurance that you could have paid for on your own anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can still pay for health insurance on your own. Like you just pay for like a personal plan rather than
Yeah,
being like on a plan of a like a larger
like with a
company.
group.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of
I don't
people
know.
will take a $8 job an hour just to get health benefits, which to me is insanity.
Yeah, and it's like you're probably going to be working like over 40 hours a week for $8 an
For
hour.
$8,
Yeah,
no,
no,
I don't
thank
want
you.
that. I'll start my
No.
own business, pay for my own insurance. Thank you very much.
Yes, exactly. Like, and I think that like just the world of like entrepreneurship like has opened my mind to like a different way of like viewing money, really, because like with corporate America, like money is like an exchange of time, whereas like with entrepreneurship and like my business, money is like an exchange of energy almost.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a lot different. And I feel like too with my business, and like you might feel like this way too, but I feel like a dollar in my business to me is worth so much more than a dollar that I've been paid at a corporate job, because I feel like I've just put so much more into it. And so I feel fulfilled by that money. And it's just, I don't know, it just feels better.
I totally understand because, well, I always tell people if you can make a dollar, you can make a whole lot more.
Exact. Oh my God, that's so true. Yes, I love that saying actually.
Like, and I've been doing this like offline for years. You couldn't pay me to go into a job. I don't care
Mm-mm.
how much money you're willing to. I'm not doing it.
I think that it's so great too that like I think more and more people are like waking up to that. So I'm I'm really curious to see like what the world comes to be in like 10
Mhm.
years from now. And like would it maybe it'll shift more to like small business, because all of these people that started out as entrepreneurs are like now growing their businesses, and maybe like corporate America is like kind of seeing its downfall almost because people are leaving.
But there's always going to be those people who like working for other people.
That is true.
They're like
It's so
getting
hard.
direction.
It's yeah,
It's so
I
many
know
people
that's
who
true.
cannot work for themselves for nothing in the world.
That's true. Yeah. And there's also people that just don't like to work at all.
That part.
And it is so hard too. And like I feel like because you have like the same mindset that I do, it is very hard to like, and there's nothing wrong with it, obviously, but it is very hard for me to understand like the mindset where you enjoy working for someone else. I
Me
can't relate to
neither.
it.
I can't even like I'm one of 7 children.
Oh wow.
And me and my brother are like, and I have 2 siblings that are entrepreneurs too, but the rest of
Uh,
them, they just love working for people. And I'm like, why? Like, I don't get it. Like, they can't even like agree with me on stuff, but you can take instructions from somebody else. I just
yes, that is, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying
like the
completely.
most hard-headed people are the people who like getting instructions, and I don't get
Mm.
it.
Yeah, I think that like, so what actually was helpful for me too, like when I was starting my business, like I worked with a business coach because I like having the direction in the sense of guidance. Like I don't like being like restricted on what I can do and being told what to do, but I do like having guidance in terms of like laying out like um kind of like a path for me to take. I think that's helpful, but like I don't like being told like you have to do X, Y, and Z by like this time at a certain like on any given day. I hate that.
I've had both types of coaches. I've had
Oh,
coaches
really?
that give you the foundations and the pathway. Then I've had coaches that say, okay, this is what you need to be doing. And then if I don't do it right, then they still can't give me alternative.
Oh,
Like I've had
interesting.
some good and some bad experiences.
Oh, really? How many business coaches have you worked with?
Unlimited amount.
Oh, well,
Because
that's good
okay,
though.
let me tell you the story.
Okay.
Pre-pandemic is when I decided, okay, I want to be a coach. This is right before the pandemic, like 2019, the fall.
Okay.
So I immediately was like, okay, I need a coach because Melissa liked learning. So I'm like, okay, I need a coach to help me. Then I did that, and then I went through a cycle of coach after coach after coach.
No, it is good to like experience like different people, because I think that you get like different perspectives and you get to take that as like your takeaway, and you get the experience too of working with other people. And like I feel like people say like, oh, if you're an entrepreneur like and you work for yourself, like you're never going to be working like with other people. Like that's totally not true. Like you're
Who
always going to
said
be
that?
working with other people. Always.
One thing I don't like that I hear a lot from people saying is like, oh, it's gonna be easy. Trust me.
It is not easy.
It is not at all easy. And I feel like people just try to get people in the door by saying it's easy when it is hard as hell.
It is hard. It is hard. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done. However, I would also say that it's the most fulfilling thing. I think
You
that,
took my
yeah,
words. It is the most fulfilling, but it's still hard.
it is very hard. You have to be on your game. You have to do everything. You have to wear all the hats. You have to be disciplined in what you're doing. You have to speak up for yourself. You have to know the right opportunities. There's so many things that you have to think of as like an entrepreneur. And I feel like I've never experienced this type of like I guess like creative mindset that I've had to like uphold this entire time, because I feel like I constantly have to be in like almost like idea mode, because I think that's something that like entrepreneurs feel. They always feel like they have to come up with like ideas like all the time, and like where they can be like more creative in their business, because that's something you're always wanting to try new things with entrepreneurship. You're trying to make your business grow. And I think that can be also like really overwhelming. Um, but I think that it's also been like such an amazing experience to like just feel like, wow, like my brain can literally do so much.
But it can.
Yeah.
It really can.
Mhm.
Well, I don't want to take up too much of more of your time, but thank you so much for chatting
This
with
was
us.
good.
This was
Yeah,
fun.
no, I really enjoyed this. Yeah. I guess if anyone listening wants to find me, you can find me at Live Your Fit on Instagram. I have like a little, I think my profile picture, I'm like wearing like a blue shirt, so you'll know that's me. But thank you so much again, Melissa, for having me on.
You're
This is
very
wonderful.
welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. Stop playing at life. Let's go. Hey,
You just listened to Melissa with Stop Playing at Life, because you know damn well you need to go out there and have a life.
Right now's the time. Let's go. Hey.